My guest tonight is the famously provocative Israeli historian Benny Morris. His work once documented many of the crimes committed by Israel in 1948, but his critics say he now justifies those crimes. I'm Mehdi Hassan, and I'm here in London's legendary Free Speech Society, Conway Hall, to go head-to-head with Benny Morris. I'll challenge him on his support for the war on Gaza and ask him why he thinks accusations of genocide are absurd. Tonight, I'll be joined by our panel of experts. Daniel Levy, a former Israeli peace negotiator and president of the US Middle East Project. Diana Boutou, the Palestinian lawyer and former advisor to the PLO. And Emmanuel Navon, an Israeli lecturer of diplomatic studies at Tel Aviv University.
Benny Morris, thank you for joining me on Head to Head. You are a supporter, a defender of Israel's current war in Gaza, which began in its current form after the atrocities on October the 7th, and which has since killed more than 38,000 Palestinians, including 15,000 children, displaced more than 1 million people, made Gaza uninhabitable per the UN, and is being investigated as a possible genocide at the International Court of Justice. A lot of people around the world think it's a genocide. I happen to think it's a genocide, but you have called that accusation absurd. Why?
Well, I once investigated a real genocide by Muslim Turks against the Christian communities of Turkey around the year 1900. Some 2 million Christians were killed at the time by Muslim Turks. And that's what a genocide actually looks like. What's happening in Gaza is a war. It's a war in which there are a lot of collateral deaths among Gazans. The war started, of course, by the Hamas from Gaza in a giant massacre on October 7th. And the only way to respond to that, and any country would have responded to that, more or less in the same fashion, I think, was to try and go after the Hamas. But the Hamas was embedded in the population, as you know, used the schools, the UNRWA schools, the hospitals, as bases, as places where they stocked their ammunition, their guns themselves, hid in tunnels underneath these schools, in apartment buildings, and this all involved collateral damage, which of course the Hamas knew it was going to ignite by killing 1,200 Israelis on the 7th of October. I myself have problems with the war as it's being waged, but genocide it definitely isn't.